Just to add to a theme that I believe ran through the first two speeches, the question of diversity and understanding and love for one another. I couldn't help, since I'm going to speak from a historical point of view, but to reflect that when I was an undergraduate, there were places where I wasn't welcome. I was a Jewish woman, and to top it all off, God forbid, I was a liberal. So I'm here to tell you that you have no idea the progress we have made as a community. We do have a lot more to accomplish in the area of diversity and understanding, and it's certainly a subject that should have high priority in our follow-up discussions. What divides us also unites us, bringing issues alive in the search for solutions. I want to quickly thank the brilliant people who planned this event, and I want to especially thank them for inviting me to be one of the speakers, even though, like Emma, I'm scared to death that I'll blow it. Dr. Seuss, I'm sure you all knew him and know him, said, "Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind." Paraphrased, if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. And if you're at all like me, you don't want to stand still. So let's talk about our town and gown, the relations between the two sides of College Avenue, the heartbeat of Happy Valley, particularly from a historic point of view. On the plus side, ID Plus, which is something most of you use to spend most of your money or your parents' money, it took a long, hard struggle between the retail side of the avenue and the bureaucratic side of the avenue to figure out how that ID Plus card could be worked out well on both sides of the avenue. Most of you don't realize that happened not all that long ago, but it happened because it should have happened and because people cared enough to stick to their guns. United Way, for years it was impossible to get the university to provide payroll deduction for United Way, the largest single fundraising community for health and welfare organizations. Alack and alas, that happened, I believe, when Bryce Jordan was president. And now, today, the contributions from the gown part of the avenue are nearly 40% of the whole county goal. We couldn't do it without them. Student housing, it's still a big issue. It costs a lot, and there are all sorts of problems. But student housing was a real problem back in the 70s when this place was exploding. And the presidents, two different presidents, enlisted the community to get some people to develop more close-in student apartments for the pile of students that were coming here. Admittedly, it isn't a perfect system, but it's diversified, and it serves a growing body all the time, and trust me, it's far better than it used to be. Economic development. We need a lot of that around here. We've lost big industry. We've lost Corning, we lost Erie, we lost Secor, and we haven't replaced them with new, viable manufacturing. The couple attempts that we've had to do that took a working partnership between the university and the town. We didn't yet win Sierra beer, is that a beer? that was one of the people that was looking to locate here. But we are positioned in a partnership to do it better. Historic minuses, in my opinion, the printing portal, affectionately called that. It's a place where Penn State puts all its printing needs out into the public. 3 printers have gone out of business in town because the lowest bid seems to be the most important consideration. I've got to move to my formal comments because I'm almost out of time. The first encampment at Mount Alto is the big historic thing I want to mention. It came under the leadership of President Milton Eisenhower, who initiated a clear path to academic excellence. That's when it all began, and created a separate post office, University Park. That came as a result of the fact that the town couldn't win a referendum for Milton Eisenhower. We tried to get the name changed, and it failed. So he gave a call to his brother in Washington, Ike Eisenhower, and therefore solved the problem. Helen Keller said, "I am only one, but still I am one. I can't do everything, but still I can do something. I will not refuse to do the something I can do." And Milton Eisenhower did that. And that's why I'm here. I'm a busy person, but this is an important day to me. My memory says encampment was the first effort to bring town and gown together in a retreat-like setting, to talk and listen, as Sam emphasized, to the challenges going forward and our capacity to seize the moment and collaborate. Perhaps the darkest moment in the relationship reared its ugly head in the early 70s, when downtown representatives of the State College Chamber of Commerce formally testified against the university's appropriation at the Senate's budget hearings in Harrisburg. Reason? Barnes & Noble was coming to campus. Huge problem. Jack Oswald was livid. Bear in mind that at the time, the university was the largest single dues-paying member at $1,800, and that was a lot of money way back then. I've always believed that out of all horror comes opportunity. Let me try to briefly tell you what happened. I was called by Dave Shuckers, who was the government relations person at the time, that he had to see me immediately. So I met him on the corner of Foster Avenue and Allen Street on my way back from a breakfast meeting at the corner room. He looks at me and he says, "Mimi, you have to become president of the Chamber of Commerce." I said, "Dave, you have to be out of your mind." My husband was seriously ill with cancer, and he was a good friend of Jack Oswald's, and Jack would have preferred him, I'm sure. But I had to seize the moment after he gave me the reasoning. They were going to drop out of the chamber. It was going to completely undermine the chamber and the town's and the university's relationship. So I became the president of the chamber with absolutely no formal experience. Pat Schroeder said a while ago, she was a very early woman elected to the Congress, "Our work as citizens is a lot like housework. It never ends. We can either wring our hands in despair or use them to roll up our shirt sleeves and try to find new ways to make a difference." This action by downtown businesses became my opportunity, believe it or not, for meaningful leadership between two forces, town and gown. And ultimately, was the key to my election to the Penn State Board in 1976, something I never imagined could happen. And then, to add to all that, in 1990, I became the first woman chair. That was unheard of. 3 years earlier, Helen Wise, who should have had that job, she was on the longest, tried to become chair and lost by 4 votes. One of the men on the board came to me and said, I couldn't vote for her, but I could vote for you. I didn't know whether to slap him or not. I said, well, you know what, Mike? I may come back to you in 3 years. And 3 years later, I came back. And I had the remarkable responsibility and job, if you will, of being a leader at the top, which was a very special feeling. Most recently, the results of the collaboration between Town and Gown to find a solution to the horrors of St. Paddy's Day have shown promise for a longer-term solution that will underscore our overall theme. We are Penn State. We get it right. Not always the first time, but we do get it together as one time, thinking, listening, and progressing. Margaret Thatcher said, standing in the middle of the road is very dangerous. You get knocked down by traffic from both sides. Kudos to the students who have done this event and do so many other important things, like Thon, Whiteout, internships. All of these are very significant to Town and Gown. Gloria Steinem advises, clinging to the past is the problem. Embracing change is the solution. The human and financial resources of Town and Gown can contribute significantly to our capacity to disagree, communicate, collaborate, and arrive at fair solutions that will facilitate the evolution of a more perfect community, Town and Gown. I hear the voice of Anne Frank in her diary, how wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. Let's just do it. Thanks, and God bless.